It was a rocky road for our favorite of the group here in our first series, but he advanced through on to the winners match. So actually, let's take a look at the bracket itself and get us a little bit updated if you're just tuning in as to what's happening here in Group D.
It was close for you, Thermal, but San edges through, scrapes through like he has done the last time he was in Premier and Challenger before that. Well, we have ToD versus MVP coming up now.
Yeah, that's certainly true. Game number 2, series number 2 on the way now, as MVP and ToD are going to be playing off against one another.
All right, excited for this one. ToD versus MVP. Two different types of champions collide here, but you have to be favoring MVP, no doubt. ToD struggles against Terran. He's struggled here in the Premier League each time he's been in the round of 32, but this is his chance. This is his chance to beat MVP right here, right now.
All right, so let's actually take a bit of a closer look at ToD himself, because ToD is a guy that, to be fair, we've come to know quite a bit as of late in terms of WCS.
Yeah, look at those results. As a Warcraft free player, this is what we mean by a different type of champion. He used to be the player that could compete with the best and beat the best in a competitive environment. His recent performances have been doing better and better. He got top 16 at DreamHack, but this is his third attempt to break into the round of 16. But one thing I know for sure, and we all know, within ToD, deep inside there is a former champion.
Yeah,
there is a former winner. Can he tap into that to get to his highest peak in WCS?
And, well, from one former champion to another, this is the WCS story of MVP. MVP retains his spot as one of the strongest players in the entirety of StarCraft. Heart of the Swarm transitioning on World Championship Series European Champion MVP.
Question marks all around him at this point. Is he as good as he was in Wings of Liberty?
Wow.
Showtime's done it. He's going to be able to beat MVP 2 times in a row.
And there you go. GG, ladies and gentlemen. Showtime has defeated Season 1's champion. He's done it. Grubby has done it. He's going to kill off MVP here. He is going to kill off the European running champion.
It's MVP, one of the best, if not the best StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty player.
GG. GG for game number 1. MVP will take it. That's brutal.
Kaboom, baby!
GG.
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 MVP is a god. He's god tier.
It hasn't got much traction. There you go. GG. Game number 1 goes to MVP.
But MVP was able to break it.
There you go.
GG.
Wow, MVP. Very, very impressive here in the first series of the day, making it look pretty simple.
Both of these players, I think, were expected to do very well this season. Now one of them is going to go home.
He's looking to advance on to the round of 8. An arch nemesis of his from aeons ago. His entire force is going to fall. He has to bring the Vikings for the fight, but there's just not enough. GG. MVP takes game number 1. He didn't find the opportunity any time with this small army on the right to really close the gap. And yes, he's trading, but it's not efficiently. There you go, GG. MMA ties up the series with mech play. And what a game. He gambled everything for this. He had to do damage, and these branches are going unanswered for. He doesn't have a Viking in production. GG! And MMA, with the Banshee follow-up, with the defense, is able to advance on to the round of 8. Wow, what a furious last game we had there between these two titans. That man on screen, Season 1 champion. His WCS Europe road here in Season 1 of 2014 comes to an end.
Flawless performances from MVP in Season 1 until he met with his arch rival MMA. Today is a new season, it's a new attempt, it is a new road to a potential another championship. It is MVP who has won 9 major championships in his career. This guy has it all. It's his 5th time within Premier League. That's pretty impressive, to say the least. 5 times in a row. He is a genius. He is very highly prepared, and that is something to keep in consideration when he plays any type of tournament where he knows who he's going up against. And he holds one thing above every other player in today's group. He is a complete mystery of a player. We do not know what to expect from him, and if we don't know what to expect, how the hell do his opponents?
That's certainly true. All right, we're ready now. Series number 2 of the day between ToD and MVP. You said it before, a lot of people been looking forward to this one as we're getting geared up and good to go on King Sejong Station between these two. Any favorites in this crazy kind of series?
You have to favor MVP here. First of all, because of his championships. He's a previous WCS champion. He knows how to prepare for a series, but one thing that ToD must hold on to, like Thermal did as well, is that MVP does play with a slight handicap coming into this.
Yep.
It's going to be more difficult for him to play from Korea, and if you think back to Season 3 last year, he played against Showtime, which we saw highlights of within that video. He lost twice against a Protoss player playing from Korea. There are 2 very, very dangerous Protoss players in this group.
Yes, there are. All right, let's get right on into it then. Game number 1 in this series. One of these guys will advance on to play against San in the winners match. Spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner here as our red Terran. Representing Incredible Miracle, it's MVP. And up to the top left-hand corner as our blue Protoss. Representing XMG, it's good old ToD.
Who has tweeted out a day ago that he still is having major problems against Terran players, losing a lot. I looked at Aliguak earlier on, and he's lost against a lot of Terran players who have a lot less status than MVP has. So this is going to be hard, but a lot of it sometimes does come down to having a mental block versus a certain race or a certain player. He needs to break past that.
Yeah.
If he wants to accomplish a round of 16 finish for the first time, he's got to do it right here, right today. This is his opportunity. It's a golden opportunity. It's a golden ticket to the round of 16 if he can deliver.
For me, ToD is the kind of guy that he's... The best way I can describe it is he's a dog with a bone, right? Like in a series, in a game, he will latch onto that bone. He will latch onto that advantage, and he will never let go of it. Never, ever let go of it. Sometimes to his detriment. Sometimes he plays so passively that he just doesn't finish the game. And some people actually get frustrated with that when it comes to ToD. But in ToD's eyes, that's how you play the game. You get an advantage, and you never let go, regardless of what's happening.
But this is the king. This is the king. 4-time GSL champion, 9-time StarCraft 2 champion. He knows how to win. He knows what it takes to advance from the round of 32. Only one time he failed. Every other time, despite issues, despite handicaps, he has made remarkable performances. In just last season, 2-0 versus Firecake, 2-0 versus Snoot. And we thought that he would have trouble there and then as well. But let's see how he can perform today. He started off with an Engineering Bay block. ToD is going to move down with a probe, and he is going to spot this, so the Zealot should not be cancelled, of course. He needs that to go down there to help deal with this.
Well, likewise, the Reaper, though, eventually will come over here. Actually, not going over there as aggressively as I was expecting. Sometimes you can couple that with an Engineering Bay and make it very annoying for that Zealot initially. It's a little bit more difficult on King Sejong Station with these timings, but he's just using it now to make sure his opponent's not doing anything crazy.
Yeah, he's having a look around here. If that probe did leave quite early on, and it could have been waiting around somewhere, could have put down a pylon somewhere, but he is going to go over there and start to do a bit of damage with this Reaper and see what's going on. Behind this, though, MVP has taken out a gas. He's going to be using a barracks follow-up here. He's going to be going into multiple barracks and just playing a regular set and strategy. One thing to note from MVP is with the mystery around him, we know that he's in pretty decent shape. I've watched his stream and he's looked good. And also he's made, over the last month or so, Pro League performances. And he's popped out and he's looked good. And of course, he's very good at those SCV timings, which we definitely could see again today.
Yeah, we could. For now, that command center's on the way, just about to finish up. There is that third barracks littering the field, and the Mothership Core is actually moving out quite aggressively here. I actually don't mind this on King Sejong Station because of the way the mineral line at the natural is positioned. You can like poke forwards and poke back quite easily.
ToD's Nexus definitely delayed a lot, though. by that engineering bay and so on. If you think about it, really, really delayed here. Mothership Core going to come in, do a little bit of damage here, and he will start to take down these Marines. One down, second one going to fall, but the third and fourth come in and push this back. What is ToD doing with all that gas? That's 300 gas in the bank.
Yeah, it's quite a lot.
Where is he going to spend it?
Well, we'll find out in just a little bit, no doubt.
Robotics facility.
From ToD, I only ever really expect standard go-tos, right? Like Robo facility, eventually a Forge will probably come down, unless he wants to hit some kind of crazy Colossus timing.
Well, he's going to go in and, the Reaper, sorry, he's going to go in and have a look to see if he can find it. Good placement from ToD, though. It's a bit tricky to find, as obviously MVP is going to be looking around the back of the mineral lines for this, and will find nothing so far. So he's a Chrono Boost into the Nexus, and doesn't see anything here. ToD definitely could have taken a couple of tips from Harston for sure with the way that he played. Remember, we played a very, very good set of Protoss versus Terran games the other day against Jack G and also Yoda. Look at this, though. We have a bunker coming in. And MVP is clueless at this point. Where would he scan if he was going to scan? Is he going to scan the natural there? Is he going to scan in the main? Does he not care?
I think considering that he's scouted out almost the entirety of the main, but maybe he thinks that the tech's like really delayed for some reason, and maybe he would actually scan the main.
But we're seeing such a regular setup from ToD. Double gas is coming in, Forge coming in for him to start looking at that +1 armor upgrade. And overall, a decent probe count. So a very, very standard game here. But MVP without any indication yet. But he doesn't seem too phased.
Yeah.
You know, there's no emergency engineering maybe being rushed down here. He may start to save a little bit of energy just in case there was a DT play. He does know ToD's on 2 gases, but doesn't really know exactly what that gas is being used on.
Playing with the blinkers on, that's for sure, is MVP. I mean, he doesn't know about the Twilight Council, doesn't know about the Robo facility, plus armor's on the way.
He's got Marines in the mineral line in the main, and he's also just kind of used all his energy too, so he's not worried about DT play here.
Yeah.
He's not throwing down turrets in the mineral lines. He's just got a couple of Marines here and there. SCV Scout's going to go out over, see what he can pick up here. It can be denied by ToD.
Yep, quite easily. Against exclusively Stalkers, which might sell a different story. Where is the scan is the big question, because he needs to get some information as to what's going on.
Not if he doesn't care. He's just going up towards Medivacs and just going to play out a game. It seems like he doesn't really care too much.
Well, he really needs information now in terms
that
of
would
the
be
Temple
nice to be able to
archives.
see. ToD's gone up to 4 Stalkers, by the way, which is very good against any standard Marauder Marine pushouts, which is very common, but MVP hasn't done that. So ToD is playing safe. But those 4 Stalkers in this game are not that useful. So ToD could have rushed his tech up a little bit faster in this game. But it is coming now at this point anyway, and a lot of gateways coming in.
Ooh,
Whether he decides to be aggressive with this, I'm not sure. I don't think that would be the best choice. Because, MVP's not slowed down at all. MVP's actually in pretty good shape because he's hit all his SCVs, he's hit all his mules, and is really running a tight ship back at home. But we do see Storm now being Chrono Boosted out. High Templar warped in. This will definitely be a surprise for MVP.
Yeah, it's really, really fast. Very fast indeed. And ToD has taken such good precaution on the left side of this map, really scouting out any kind of drop play that could potentially come.
So this is 4 Stalkers straight into High Templar. There is 1 Sentry that got warped in with it. But if we were to see damage by ToD, which caught MVP by surprise with his Storm, absolutely he can attack from this as a counter. He's already got a bunch of pylons on the left-hand side, which could be his launching attack from. So he's also got an Immortal coming in, which does help a lot here. ToD is leaning at the moment towards an attack. He's leaning towards an attack here.
He's got so much power in those High Templars once this Storm finishes. If MVP somehow strays too far forwards with this army, it's going to melt.
Very careful here. Otherwise, he will get hit by storms, and ToD could find himself in a very good position. A scan sees it. Good scan. And now MVP's got to be like, whoa, wait a minute. Whoa. And I'm sure we'll see the Ghost Academy come down. Otherwise, he's going to have to really micro his heart out, which, as we said, isn't going to be the easiest thing for him to do.
Oh, he actually drops the scan on the high ground again, realizes that I think, with ToD's positioning, with the amount of High Templars he had there, with the energy that they'd banked and accrued, there's no way that MVP can be realistically pushing into that location.
Yeah, well, it looks like ToD's going to throw down at Nexus here at the moment. He's got a probe up there. But he is not going to be able to be attacked into at the moment. He's got all these storms available. MVP, though, is adding on an extra 2 barracks. I'm worrying if he's going to use a Ghost Academy or not. And if he doesn't, then he's going to have to dance around these storms. Which, I think is going to be very difficult for him. There comes the Ghost Academy. And ToD is making a switch up to robotics base. So no aggression from ToD. Just very defensive. I think he's going to try and drag this one super late.
Yeah, there's the Ghost Academy on the way now. I suppose if ToD does take this third, then there is a little bit of room if you set up like a full concave and try and come in from both angles. There's a little room to dance storms, but you don't want to be doing that with the kind of latency that you're going to get from Korea to Europe. You want those ghosts there. You want those EMPs available to you. And these medevacs are going to have to take the long way around, and they're going to run into a warp prism if they're not careful. Oop, changes course.
No, it does change course indeed. Couple of warp-ins do keep these pylons safe on the left-hand side. More ghosts being added in here for MVP. He's not at a very high SCV count yet, only at 52. Playing this quite cautious, doesn't really know if there is a third Nexus down or not from this point. And is kind of just moving around with his units in the center.
Good positioning on these Marines as well at the back. I think he may have seen the warp prism with the Marine on the watchtower a little bit earlier, so that's why he's kind of poised and ready to go for that warp prism. And even if it does try and run away, with the medevacs there, he could actually just chase it down anyway. So he's got a good setup to greet that warp prism if it ever comes along.
Second robotics facility coming in for ToD, going to make a big switch up soon to Colossus. Big switch up.
Yeah, it's kind of scary actually. But again, on this left-hand side, ToD's keeping good eyes on every single little piece of movement.
He's got really good eyes everywhere.
Yeah, his vision on the map, on his side especially, is fantastic. And he's just spotted the third command center flying to its destination.
Good Zealot harassment, and MVP is going to start doing some damage to this left-hand side. ToD's key to victory will be taking the games late. Absolutely, that's where Showtime was able to beat MVP. That's where ToD should be able to do it as well. And the third base is coming in now for MVP. ToD, isn't really taking his gases on his third yet. Doesn't have a super high probe count yet, but the Colossus switch is going to be quite deadly, especially if it's spotted anytime soon. Looks
to turn around and try and grab one of those stalkers. Does get it with minimal losses, actually. Not too bad there for MVP. But that could have gone a whole lot worse if one extra force field would have caught that little clump.
I really like ToD being slightly aggressive at this point because it's keeping his opponent's attention on the attacks. Warp Prism's going to get in the main base. Already MVP is there, though. And he's going to try and bring that down to prevent any further warp-ins. But ToD being aggressive now, as mentioned, is going to distract MVP away from Colossus, which would open up a really big opportunity for ToD to come in and strike. He also could do a lot of damage here on this third too. It's not all about the Colossus timing, but he could do damage here. That's a lot of storms he has.
Yeah, he does have quite a few. Moves forwards with a few bio units to soak up one of the storms. There's still those Zealots being annoying in the main base. That's going to have to fly away because those Marines are well positioned to deal with that. But as you said, where are the Vikings? We're already up to 2 Colossi. Another one's going to be on the way. If he adds on a 4th from here, that arm is going to be very potent from ToD.
Yeah, and MVP has not noticed the switch up at all yet. Where was that scan? Just ahead. He was going to see if he was being attacked. Now he knows that his opponent has backed off. Still think this Colossus switch is probably the biggest move that ToD's going for at the moment with that Thermal Lance now coming in. Like a couple more Colossus, if he moves out with 5, he's at 3 currently, that is very, very scary. If not just game winning instantly. Without Vikings on the field, it's so big, and MVP needs to figure that out if he wants a chance here.
Yeah, I can't believe there's been the neglection of Viking production, but also there's no second stop either. So when he does notice it, his Vikings are going to be coming in very, very slowly to actually retain a position in this game.
Yeah, and again, this Warp Prism's still alive. It gets in there and is going to once again distract MVP, who won't be thinking about potential tech switches for the time being. ToD's getting ready here, moving across, maybe moving a little bit too early. Definitely think waiting for 5 is probably the best idea with them coming in, but still, 3 Colossus unanswered for with a lot of Sentry Storms around. ToD's in good shape, very good shape.
And with the Armory dying, even if he had Vikings, well, he does have a few on the way now, but there's not going to be any +1 anytime soon for them, so they're going to hit a little bit weak compared to what you would normally see in the current metagame. This is going to be difficult for him. The pressure is now on this right-hand side, but he doesn't have that much to complement the Colossi, so he's got to be careful about his Zealot positioning.
Yeah, this is a little bit funky here from ToD. Very funky, because he's going to get EMP'd on this right-hand side. His strategy and a major tech switch has been spotted, but at least he is dragging his opponent away from defending the third, so get some Zealot damage done. Warp Prism continues on here.
Yeah, this is really good harassment from ToD just everywhere. Yeah. Warp Prism in the third, trying to go for the engineering base now before +2 armor finishes. He grabs that one. He warps in a few more Zealots as well, whilst pushing at the natural. MVP's in a bit of trouble.
MVP's in trouble with his infrastructure and everything. 1-1 upgrades. He's got a very dangerous army, but with no Vikings. There are too many Colossus.
Yeah.
Todd's walking away with this one at the moment.
This is going to be really difficult, especially since those upgrades were just completely stifled. This is really, really hard now for MVP to hold on against this. But MVP, one thing that we've learned about him, especially in WCS, is that he does not die. It's going to be very, very difficult for ToD to kind of just push away with this, even if there's not a huge amount of Vikings. MVP is going to grind down to the very last man.
MVP has a sick army. Like I mentioned, it's so big, incredibly large here. He doesn't have that many workers. It's a massive army. ToD defends this attack, he wins the game. That simple. 6 Colossus should do the job. There simply is only 4 Vikings. MVP will need to spread his units thin. He needs to take the best possible fight, but ToD just needs to fight in a clumped up area. He's got to be careful of EMPs though. Bear in mind, if he does fight in a clumped up area, which there are a lot of, all the shields will melt instantly. Defend this, win the game.
Double scan drops so he can find out where his opponent's army positioning is. A little bit of a
MVP's dragging him out here, or trying to drag him out here to land some really good EMPs here.
Oh, this third is completely sacrificed. There's no way he's going to be able to save that anytime soon, but that is a very, very strong army here from ToD as well. He's looking for the engagement now. He loses his third base. But when is he going to go for it? Those ghosts are very, very vulnerable. Actually, 2 of them take a big volley, and he loses quite a few of them. Few EMPs do hit some of High Templars at the front.
Another big round of units here for ToD, and he can go. He should be absolutely jumping on this opportunity. Remember, defend this attack, win the game. He's lost his third, lost his fourth, but still 6 Colossus. The Viking count is rising. So, you know, as much as it was to defend the attack, it was kind of defend the attack but not take kind of critical damage like that is nice, because MVP is going to be kind of relatively equal on income. But the Viking count's rising, and if the Viking count rises high enough, then the Colossus could be dealt with, sorry.
Few feedbacks
But
down
still,
to Medevacs.
These Colossus are unanswered for.
There's so many of them. 8 Colossi in this army are going to absolutely incinerate this entire Bioforce if he's not careful. With 6 Vikings, if you don't have 1 Viking per Colossus at least, then you're in trouble.
ToD can fall victim to his own playstyle now. We've seen this multiple times before, is he plays way too passive and doesn't jump at the right time, doesn't have that killer instinct to win at the right time. It is now.
Yeah.
Now is the time. Wait longer, and you're going to have a much harder time.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it before. That's what ToD has suffered from. You're right. I mean, he's sending in zealots here and there just to go for the harassment. But actually now saying that, look how well he's moving into position with this army. It could do so much damage. There's infinite amounts of splash damage in this army. It's
There's
crazy.
also almost infinite amounts of EMPs coming up this ramp too.
That's true. That's very, very true. But he actually breaches this area. Gonna pull back for a second there. One EMP does hit. That's not the most amazing of Storm. Catches a little bit of the Vikings at the end. Not too bad a second Storm, though. We'll get a lot of that bio.
Taking losses on the Colossus hit points.
Archon's trying to close the gap with these Vikings, but not really doing the damage that they want to. EMPs land on almost the entire Protoss army here. The Colossi are actually dying off pretty quick. As we said before, MVP just refuses to die. Even against this, even not having the best composition to deal with those Colossi, he's gonna push this back.
Why? Okay, I'll come to it in a minute, but ToD's in a bit of trouble. Obviously, he's lost a lot of units there. He lost his 3rd and 4th base. He's losing this army. Decent Storm there, but MVP is in the lead. He stopped the big Colossus attack. He didn't go fast enough here. He's dancing out of storms. The big question I'm asking, why is ToD attacking up the ramp there to the natural? Why is he not in the open space on the left-hand side to where the 3rd is?
Yeah.
MVP's run out of money on the main and the natural, but I'm not too sure why ToD wanted to attack on that side. That was going to be the harder way to attack. MVP now completes 2-2 upgrades. He's got the Viking count continuing to rise. He's got a lot of Marauders there. And ToD did not take a good fight. You know, he's got to have the Eye of the Tiger, but he's also got to have it in the right areas.
Yeah, you're right. That was not the best. But regardless, ToD still here with his income has a
Dark
little
Shrine
bit of
going to be
ability.
used now. He did get the Dark Shrine a long time ago, and there is a DT on the 3rd, which is a bit of a nuisance.
Gets a scan dropped on it, going for the repair and keeping that bunker alive, but losing a few workers there, so 33 workers lost to 4. And +3 weapons is about to finish. That's going to increase those Colossus shots quite well.
Yeah, I mean, you can't count ToD out for sure. He's still in a decent shape, but he's definitely allowed MVP to get back into this.
Yeah, and as we always say, man, MVP does not die. He's absolutely tenacious with his defense. And here we have now ToD moving into the middle of the map. He's got to be a little bit careful. He sees the movement of his opponent's army. He's going to try and maybe flank it, but...
Well, this base, this 4th, is going to be stopped on the left, but there is going to be a fight on the right here.
Yeah, this is tough. Forces the cancellation. Dark Templar there, just going to start swiping away at that. One Colossus caught in the middle of nowhere. Could die off very easily if MVP is able to get eyes on it. He's going to go to the third, looking to snipe that out again. Those Marauders going to bring that down very, very fast. ToD now has a timer above his head. He needs to save that, but he doesn't. MVP could happily just get out of here, but the Vikings are in a great spot and are actually doing so much work on these Colossi without really having anything done to them.
Three of them do survive there, but there's a drop on the natural too. ToD is dealing with that one with Zealot Warpins and an Immortal. MVP's running back to the rest of his army, which is building up still. Ghosts and Vikings continuing to be added onto this army. For the time being, just Vikings. There are a handful of Ghosts, 2 Ghosts back at home, which will be very needed here. But if ToD attacks up that ramp again, I mean, he's going to get EMP'd. Just, there's how many Vikings currently? 3. It's not a lot.
And with the lack of Zealots that he actually has in this composition, 12 in total, a lot of them were at home defending as well. He's trying to bring those to the front.
Versus 2-2 as well, remember? Yeah. He's going to fight the left-hand side now, which is the better fight to take. There are a lot of Widow Mines around. There is an Observer with the army.
This fight's going to come. At least MVP knows all the movement because of the sensor tower. And drops the scan.
Checks it out. High Templar and Colossus to deal with.
Really nice concave been set up here by MVP to greet this army if he wants to push forwards. The Vikings overstepping the mark a little bit. And blinks forwards to kill one off at least.
Yeah, gets one. Viking count at 6 is getting higher. There's only 4 Colossus and more Vikings added on. ToD re-expanding to a 3rd and 4th. Probably going to start to get more nervous as the game goes on, and probably the series goes on too, because he was playing pretty well and was leading for a lot in this game, but obviously when you allow a player like MVP to get back in, you never really know exactly if you're in the lead or not and what position you're in. And he doesn't want to attack in again here. But still, MVP on 3 bases, not mining a lot of money. Likewise, not ToD, but once these Nexus get up and running again, he will be, and will be able to add on to his army. Remember, MVP still took at 2-2 upgrades.
Yeah, but I mean, as it goes, at least MVP, for his sake, can fly Command Center from his main over to another base if he feels that he can defend across those locations. It's going to be difficult, though, against ToD, who right now, with those bases being set up, will have a little bit more of an expendable income, and thus we may see even more Zealot Warpins trying to hit those bases if he was to try and take them. So MVP, in turn, has got to play this really slow.
All right, Viking count 8 to 4 Colossus, about to be 5. 4 Ghosts in the mix. It usually, at this point, when it is kind of similar, ToD's definitely got a lead, but it depends on the engagement. How does the engagement go down? Because I think the big first engagement we saw in this game was favored towards ToD if it was a good engagement, but it wasn't. Therefore, MVP capitalized a little bit. And he's going to start mining from a new base. ToD, very far bottom left here. MVP doesn't know about this. Doesn't know where ToD's army is. He will find out in a second from that Widow Mine by the looks of it. Or will he? Yeah, he will. Sees it now.
All right, so he's going to have to react pretty quickly. This is a very strong army once again from ToD. We have 10 Vikings out now, though. A lot of firepower behind those. Storms catches a few of those medevacs and pushes this away. Once again, both players are playing very patiently. Don't really want to be overextending at all.
There's no Observer with the army currently, and Cloak just started for his Ghost.
Oh, the one
Something
observer
to think about.
Yeah, the one Observer is over here. ToD actually just found it and moved it, so I think he's moving it back to his army now, looking at the trajectory of it.
Tense game here. Really tense game between these two Titans. And well, can ToD finally break through to the round of 16? This is the start. This is where it has to take place. He's going to fight up a ramp here. And MVP's not quite ready. He wasn't quite ready for that. But ToD doesn't want to go in. As soon as he hits an EMP, he gets out again. A couple of storms do come down. Didn't really get too much done there. Yep. Zealots on the natural, which is a bit annoying to deal with, but reinforcements do deal with that.
Yeah, trying to catch ghosts, and well, there was an EMP there on these High Templars as well, draining a little bit of energy, but storms in turn. Both the back and forth here, once again, of High Templars and ghosts will continue.
Observer being added into the army now as well. He hasn't got one with the army, he's just adding one in.
Yeah, the last one actually died off just a little bit ago.
So it's good that he notices that will be needed. Big Zealot Warping again towards the natural. He's trying to pull MVP out of position and then jump on this high ground in the middle of the map. That's his plan. MVP's kind of realizing that that's the attempt here, and is Widow mining up and reinforcements are staying on that natural.
And they're actually going to clump up pretty well, so that Widow mine could get a good
reinforcements.
Hit.
Okay, so yeah, ToD's going to pull him out of position and go up to the high ground now. This is a nice move from ToD.
Yeah, it's working out all right. There's even storm capabilities there, and he's actually going to pressure now down on this base. Can he actually kill it off before time runs out here? I think he could, considering the firepower.
Yeah, it's a big win. Big win there by ToD.
Yeah.
Great move, big win. And, you know, he's got bases mining. As I mentioned before, with the 2 bases that were being constructed, they are now mining. He's in good shape. The cloak is activated.
Is he going to go? It looks like he is.
There's one observer right with the army.
There's SCVs
MVP
with
has
this.
to go. He's got no income.
Yeah, there's SCVs with this. MVP is looking for blood. Feedback
This
on
is
a
it.
ghost.
This is going to be the last fight by the looks of it of the game.
He dropped the scan. He's trying to kill off the observers. There's actually no observers with this army. The ghosts have a lot of energy for the cloak up. Double storm on that bio there, though. Triple storm ends up hitting a lot of that. That rips up so much. ToD now with the supply advantage. 100 supply up. It doesn't even matter if all the Colossus die off. GG. ToD takes game number 1. Could have happened a little bit quicker, though. It was tense in those final moments.
That was a tense game for sure, yeah. Definitely ToD having lots of advantages, but not quite being able to jump at the right time to win the game. But he wins game number 1 now, just like Euthermal did against San earlier. But now, MVP getting a feel for how ToD's playing, his play style, and also the strategy that he used initially there. Just need one more game. ToD would see himself in the winner's match for a PvP.
Yeah, so we're going to be getting on to map number 2 in just a little bit here, but it's exactly as we explained it. You know, ToD, he plays very, very well. He plays this kind of stable, control-based style, but always wants to keep control to the point where there is that passiveness in the later stages of the game that can hurt him. But he prevails. A win is a win in the end, right?
A win is a win. And as mentioned, for the first time out of all the Premier Leagues ToD's played in, this is probably his best opportunity to get to the round of 16, which he's never been before. If not, this would be his 3rd attempt and his 3rd failure at doing that. There is a high chance he makes it today. And going into the next map, which is Altazim, you have to be feeling confident as ToD coming into this. You know, if you think about the way that Harston was able to play this map just a few days ago, slow, passive, drag it out.
Yeah.
Drag it out versus MVP. MVP is going to have a harder time to finish it early. It's a massive map. His SCV pulls will not be as clean and easy to pull off on a map this size. ToD would have more warning and more time.
Yeah, ToD's play style is completely akin to what we saw from Harston last group. So, I mean, one thing's for sure. One way or another, regardless of what happens today, we're probably going to see ToD in the round of 16. In one capacity or another.
One way or the other.
All right. Anyway, game number 2 is loading up and getting good to go now here on Altazim Stronghold. ToD currently leading the series 1-0. Remember, MVP is in Korea, currently playing on the European server. It's a disadvantage, but it's a position that these Koreans put themselves in. You have to play on the European server if you're going to play on WCS Europe, regardless of where you are in the world.
And usually MVP does make it through, but usually he's also playing against Zergs or Terrans.
Yeah.
Against Protoss players he does not have a good record against, and it's going that way again.
All right, let's get into it. Game number 2 now to find out if ToD can take the 2-0 or if MVP can tie it up 1-1 as we have. Spawning down to the south, our blue Protoss representing XMG. It is ToD. And up to the top right-hand corner, our red Terran representing Incredible Miracle. It's MVP.
Big map. What is MVP going to do here? I'd be surprised if ToD tries something aggressive to end it fast. Could use a risk strategy to gain a lead, whether it be DT or Oracle. I doubt he'd try to finish it with a blink play or gateway timing, a lot more difficult to achieve on this map. But MVP and San both are very, very vulnerable in today's group. Both, once they make it to the round of 16, can do a lot of damage to anybody.
Yeah.
But here they are vulnerable. They can be taken down. They're weak. And ToD got to capitalize on that right here, right now.
Yep, best chance to do it. Absolute best chance here for ToD. What a map to continue on Altazim Stronghold. Yeah. Obviously, I think with Altazim Stronghold still being here, they get 2 map vetoes each, so MVP and ToD have let this go through. So MVP's got to still feel okay-ish on this map for it to have been here still. And look at this, ToD is going to get a good scout from the very get-go.
Yeah, it's always nice to see what your opponent's up to. MVP is just going to go Command Center first. So with going Command Center first, he's just going to look to further his economy, get a good jump start in this game. He's not going to open Reaper. He's not going to try and figure out what ToD's up to. But the benefit that ToD has upon moving out early here is that he can see this.
Yep.
He sees this, and there is possibilities that he can react to it. There could be aggressive plays coming out from ToD, knowing that his opponent's opened up quite late with his barracks and potential tech. or he can just try to get his Nexus down faster. He's building a Zealot, which doesn't make sense at the time being, considering what we see. But he can turn that aggressive, right? Why would you build a Zealot to block something without need? Chrono Boost into it. He's going to go double Zealot. Double Zealot into a good Nexus. So double Zealot here is going to really put pressure on MVP early. And also, oh, he's just one. Is it one? Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
so.
just one. So pressure on MVP early, which is going to kind of freak MVP out a little bit because the Zealot's there really fast. But it's kind of a feint at the same time because he's gone for a decent time Nexus.
Yep, and it is certainly annoying. I mean, maybe he'll have a Marine out at this point, but
He's got
one
a
Marine
micro well.
yeah, it's not that easy against one Zealot.
And if he's able to kill a couple of SCVs here, that just helps him out against his command center first, especially with his Nexus timing.
Yeah, the weakening of that initial SCV. I mean, every little thing is important here. As that SCV is now moving out down to the south, it sees the Zealot. He knew that this SCV was coming out.
And
So
he's able to build a second Marine straight away and third Marine. So MVP knows this is coming, but he doesn't know if this is Zealot, Stalker, Mothership Core, Zealot, 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 Stalker, Stalker. Doesn't know kind of what it is, so has to throw down a bunker immediately and has to micro. Does not want to take losses versus this Zealot.
Yep, even a SCV going down is a good pickup for this
SCV's
Zealot.
coming off the line as well.
Yep, that's a lot of lost mining time here. Goes for the weakened SCV and gets it.
So 2 coming down, a bunker that isn't really useful in this game. Does cancel it though, all credit to him. And ToD just chrono boosting all into the Nexus since then. Just lots and lots of chrono boost there. And he's got a 25 probe to 17 SCV lead already.
It's nice.
That's really nice.
Yep, SCV's going to come up and have a little bit of a look around. Of course, he cancelled the bunker, and his suspicions were kind of now confirmed, seeing that there's not really a whole lot going on, and we'll see the timing of the Nexus.
Yeah,
so.
that was a really nice choice by ToD, to the way that he's opened this already. Gained a nice lead already.
And the Marines, in turn, though, going to start moving out here. But once a Stalker and Mothership Core, with even a second Stalker on the way now, it's very, very difficult for 5 Marines to really do anything.
Yeah, MVP does see another unit being built. Well, you can only imagine there's another Stalker here.
Yeah.
MVP, in a direct fight, would be in trouble against Stalker, Mothership Core, Stalker. But what happens if he sneaks around?
Just kind of
Goes
sneaks around.
Yeah, what happens if he gets into the base when it's just a Mothership Core with no energy to Mothership Photon Overcharge?
Could snipe
This
it
is a
out.
big risk, because if ToD has his units, both Stalkers or third one, on the ramp, he's going to kill all these Marines easily. But it's only one Stalker right now, and if ToD doesn't see this properly or control properly, he could lose that Stalker.
Yeah, tricky little move. We have a Stalker poised at the front here as well for ToD to spot if anything were moving out. But
and ToD's reactions, are they fast?
Yes.
Not the fastest, but good enough.
yeah, it'll do. It'll do. Don't want to lose a probe, though. One goes down. And
Photon Overcharge not ready, but
yeah.
just more probes. You've got to aim for probes here. You're not going to kill these Stalkers and Mothership Core.
Yeah, and in the end, with this control, I mean, a few workers die, yes, but, you know, not forcing out the overcharge isn't too bad there for ToD.
Yeah, that was okay. And the MVP also used those Marines, got a couple of probe kills, and scouted the robotics facility.
Yeah.
So it's like a double whammy. He doesn't have to use a scan. That is a nice bonus. Third command center is coming in fast, actually. Much, much faster than I anticipated. Before the factory's up, before engineering bay's up, nice and fast. He's going to move out now with the Marauder and Marines. This can be pretty good, especially because he's damaged one Stalker already a little bit.
No Forge down yet is quite interesting. He could go for, like, I mean, if he's got 2 more gateways on the way now.
With the Twilight Council coming in, he's probably going to... well, he's going up towards Temporal Archives again fast.
Yeah.
Whether he goes for an attack or not is a different kind of thing to think about. But yeah, Forge would have been nice to have in pretty soon here. So MVP actually backs off here. Decides to leave.
These small clumps of units always moving out here for MVP on transit over there. And I think he spots that Observer. Like, well, we'll find out in just a little bit if he decides to kind of clean that up before he actually gets there. Because denying the fact that he had that third command center so quickly would be nice.
Yeah. Is he going to stop the Observer, though? Sees it. Oh,
Sick.
Nice. Denies the Scout. That's nice, actually. ToD's gone for a Templar Archives. I mean, ToD just doesn't attack. He's not really a big attacker.
ToD just doesn't attack, man.
He's not a big attacker.
But
so
that's a lot of gateways.
It is a lot of gateways. Goes up to 9.
Is it charge Archon time? Is it what is it, ToD?
He's not an attacker. There's a Forge coming in.
Ah, ToD.
He's not a big attacker. He's just playing safe.
Yeah.
He'll take a third probably with this.
But considering he didn't get in there with the Observer, this is overly safe, I feel.
Yeah, especially with the way that MVP's playing. 3 barracks, straight up to that. Command Center before Medivacs and so on.
I mean, the Marine's going to get over here, say, haha, you still have a third, and then laugh his way to the bank, I guess.
Yeah, but he's also got to be mentally preparing in case there is an attack too. But ToD just, as much as this could be an attack, ToD just doesn't do that. So he's got no probe out on the map, I don't think. I think that's Observer on the right-hand side. Yeah, it's just not an attack.
Oh, well. So, for now, MVP is going to have a little bit of a lead behind this.
This is good for MVP.
Yeah, he's set up well. He's going to have full exploitation of this third for quite a while, actually, whilst ToD is grabbing himself a Warp Prism. Yes, Storm's about to finish up in just a little bit, but there's not really anything he needs it for.
ToD's definitely approaching this series like, with all these gateways that he's on, he is saying, I'm not going to die early and mid, and I'm going to take it late.
Yeah.
That's where the best place is to be. A scan coming in for MVP sees again, like Zealot Charge Archon Mortal style. Ghost Academy comes in, but Widowmine's definitely going to be utilized in this. It's the key way to play against this style. But as long as MVP can probably think, MVP's smart. He knows that ToD's going to want to drag this.
Yeah.
So if he can just delay ToD from taking a third for as long as possible, that's the best thing that MVP can do. Because of his SAS third, he's gaining a lot from it.
And he still hasn't spotted the third, even with that hallucinated Phoenix.
Yeah, MVP thinks there's a third somewhere else. He's sending Marines around because he's like, this is really late. And if it isn't really late, then I'm in good shape.
Yep, just sending them absolutely everywhere. It's not really too much of an investment. There's one Zealot moving around now, and this will be the first spot of this third base that ToD actually
Prison,
gets.
by the way, on the right-hand side is spotted.
Oh, feedbacks, I guess.
Yeah, feedbacks, but not going to achieve too much there.
Yeah, at least it slows this down on the right-hand side for a little bit, but that's about it.
There's a turret on that right-hand side too. MVP adapting to the Warp Prison play of ToD.
Yeah, he would have ideally loved to have got into those mineral lines for some storms, but...
Scan on top of the third Nexus because he really just wants to know what the hell ToD's doing here. Sees a third. No, ToD's playing very close to his chest in terms of how he's playing. Very, very safe, very defensive. MVP's going to explode in his supply.
Careful. Nope, don't want to drop in there. Going to drop on the high ground at least. Maybe a pylon or so, but anything else other than that is going to be a little bit difficult. There's a storm in for the defense. Maybe a few zealots here and there. Those the warp in to actually stop this. And
one Marine. One Marine shot down that mothership core there. And also, MVP is at the front.
Yeah. Did get spotted by the Observer. The army's well positioned to defend the third.
And MVP's already building Vikings too. He's not going to get caught by that surprise again.
All right, so MVP's playing out the second game really, really well so far.
If ToD storms right in the front here.
And yeah, this push forwards. Really wants to get those down. Double good storm, pushes that away, catches the Medivacs on the retreat out.
Yeah.
Still the Widowmines there, though.
Still 2 storms as well. But ToD's still not mining from that third, and it's 14 minutes.
Yeah, that's late.
MVP's been mining from that third for a long, long time. But ToD has the Warp Prism. But it's been found. Vikings already in there.
Get it.
Yeah, that's a nice pickup if you can get that.
Yeah, and it's 2 High Templars. He needs to like drop them and maybe even like an Archon. So
yeah, he gets the Warp Prism. That's good for MVP. MVP only built the 2 Vikings for that Warp Prism. He's not going to allow that to harass him this time.
He stemmed his whole army up to go and get this Archon.
Got to get that Archon, man.
Yeah, I suppose he wants to save those Vikings as well. That'd be nice.
There is a timing for MVP before Colossus enter the field because it's a big investment ToD's going for. If MVP was to move out and figure out that there is that timing to hit with Ghost, he is very strong. Very, very strong. ToD is going to be at his best once the Colossus are out by 2. 1 isn't good enough.
Still more Warp Prisms on the way here for ToD, looking for the exploit that he can kind of get on MVP's position. If he sees it move out with an Observer, for example, then he can try and dart on in, similar to how we saw, Harstem actually using that Warp Prism. He's been a bit more aggressive with his Warp Prisms than Harstem was, because he was always waiting for when he moved down.
This push is strong, as just mentioning. Very strong. MVP's on that third for a long time. He's got a good army size. He's got Ghosts in. There's no Colossus. Right EMPs, right snipes. His game ending here. ToD has to be very careful on his defense.
Zealots moving up to the left-hand side for the counter-attack, but as you said, scary, scary army.
Yeah,
gotta be
probably
careful.
scan to have a quick look. But ToD needs to be so careful here.
It's +2 armor on this Protoss army. No +1 just
he's having a look for the High Templar. He picks one off with Marauders here.
Nice stim forwards there to catch that. Also, is charge not done for these Zealots at all? Charge isn't
No, he
there.
hasn't. That's a crucial upgrade when playing this style.
Yeah.
And he's missed it.
That's
High Templar
really important.
gone.
Uh-oh, he's going to lose his third. He's going to lose his third, even if he sacrifices his whole army.
And EMP on the Zealots as they're clumped up because they weren't charging in.
Yeah. Oh, this is a catastrophe here for ToD in game number 2. MVP has just executed this great, and ToD, he's missed a few things, and he's played it very, very slow.
Yeah, very slow, very cautious, overly defensive, and MVP smashes through, hits at the right time before Colossus is ready with a nice attack. It pops out at the worst time possible, really, this Colossus. 70 supply difference. And MVP didn't pull the boys here. This wasn't a big committal to an attack. He's got 2-2 about to finish. He's got another army building up. These 4 Zealots were slow with the counterattack. MVP is just winning. It's that simple. He is #winning.
He is #winning, man. Oh, no Zealot charge as well. And it's your favorite Apollo.
It is my favorite. It is a great upgrade.
I'm sorry about that, man.
It is a fantastic upgrade, and the Zealots are just so bad without it.
There it is now. So maybe eventually we'll get to see it. But it could even end before that. Who knows? MVP could go for the killing blow now. I mean, his army is absolutely phenomenal right now.
Incredible army size. He's got a planetary fortress up, turret, units there just in case.
Oh, no. Oh.
Yeah, that's awkward.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, that's a little bit sad.
Right, okay. Well,
but here comes an attack, which is, probably going to end the game here.
Yeah.
There's just not a big army size. ToD basically has not mined really much from that third. It's just... Like I said, he just played it out so safe because his thought process was just get to the late game and get to the late game, get to the late game. But the way MVP played it, he took he was a little bit greedy in terms of the fast third. It was never spotted, and he fast forwarded his economy, got a great army really fast, and hit at the right time. Just did everything right. There was nothing beautiful, nothing majorly creative by MVP. He just played solid, and ToD was taking a little bit too many defensive precautions.
Yeah, I mean, arguably, if that observer had actually got in and spotted the third, maybe he could have played this a little bit more differently. But because there was that denial, MVP absolutely ran away with that great lead he had. A drop here, going to kill off the natural very fast, whilst we have a little bit of a Zealot harassment up in the natural of his own. But in the grand scheme of things, MVP is on top of it.
He is on top of things. He's on top of the world currently. 182 supply to 117. And, ToD's in trouble. He's lost his natural base there. MVP's on 4. He's got Vikings incoming. He's got 3-3 on the way. That's the army of ToD. It's not very big.
It's not quite an army.
It's not quite big. It's hard to call it an army.
Oh, well. He's going to try and find some way to stay in here. Again, if anything is on ToD's mind when it comes to playing StarCraft, it's patient, slow, calm, collected. And even though he's way behind now, he's still going to play it out. And then MVP is going to throw down 4 command centers.
Yeah, 4 command centers. He's pretty low on SCVs, which is always nice because his army is going to be super strong. He's only 54 SCVs. Lots of command centers means lots of scans so he can see what's going on, but also lots of mules too. Multiple purposes, but just, well set up. His army is going to be hard to stop. That's a lot of bio. It's a lot of ghosts. It's going to have a lot of Vikings with double starports. And that's an army that, is very difficult to stop currently.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately for him, there's Archon's now trying to power through a little bit of that bio. Not too bad. Storms catch the front of that, but you're going to need more Storms than that.
Scan sees the small army, sees a couple of High Templar at the back there, which are the biggest 2 threats to this. And there they are, and they get a feedback. And 1 Storm from the right-hand side, another one, but they don't really get into the juicy parts of that bio army.
Yeah, not at all. There's more Zealots naturally charge from forwards, but they absolutely melt as they move on forwards here. Their third ends up falling, and now ToD is completely shot in terms of income.
Yeah, really stuck. He can't even afford a Nexus, as you can see. Can't even afford it. MVP will go back, regather, and go again shortly when he's rebuilt. And that's one of the key things when playing Terran versus Protoss for a lot of people that play and watch themselves, is as good as it is to trade, it's also very important to snipe the Nexus too, or Nexuses, because then it's easier for the Protoss to replenish. But ToD's moving across. He kind of is going to attack when he has to, because he's so far behind now.
Yeah.
He knows if he waits, then he's going to be having to face a 200 supply army with very, very little. But he's being brought back by this drop.
Yeah, there's 1 High Templar there that could do a little bit of damage, but that Storm doesn't really do a whole lot. Killed off a few there, and there you go. GG, game number 2. Goes to MVP, tying it up 1 apiece.
1 apiece now, and very similar trends from the Korean versus the Europeans is the European wins map 1, Korean ties it up. Are we going to see the 3rd map go in favor of MVP, or is ToD going to be able to really do something to stop MVP here? But, you have to give credit to MVP. I think he after game 1 was probably reading into the way that Todd's playing this, the way Todd's thinking about this, and he was able to pull it off in terms of get away with his economy, really rush up with his army supply, and be in decent shape.
And I think Todd's going to be kicking himself for that game. Like, I kind of felt, you know, we've known Todd for a while. I think he felt very frustrated in that game because of how it played out. If he'd have spotted that third, I think that could have gone a whole different way there for Todd.
Yeah, I mean, when a third is before the factory and starport, let's just say, and put it one way, you don't need 9 gateways.
Yeah, you're not really going to need those too much. All right, so Habitation Station is going to be our third and final map between these two.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting map here.
I don't really see MVP as the kind of guy who's going to float to the gold. I think he, you know, we've seen him time and time again. He's come into the round of 32, even playing from Korea, and always gone for long, stable macro games, and has always seemed to do well, aside from that one time against Showtime where things didn't go quite to plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's always played those longer games.
I wouldn't be surprised to see MVP float, even though it's not something he does, but it could be something he would do now. But, you know, whatever. If he does it, he does it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Todd definitely needs to do this now. This would be the biggest confidence boost for anything for him. To be able to beat a Terran player, but also more importantly, to be able to beat MVP. And if Todd was to go into a PvP versus San, I think he'd be looking pretty good, actually, to maybe even advance in first place.
Yeah, his PvP has always kind of shone through as one of his better matchups here. So, guys, we're getting loaded up now. Game number 3 between Todd and MVP to find out who's going to move through to the winners match. This is a big deal, as Todd really, really wants that round of 16 spot. And MVP is the king of wings. He's always here. You can't bet against that man. Let's jump right on in, as we now have match number 3 underway. And, oh,
yeah,
jeez,
I thought it might happen.
Louise.
I thought this might happen. I thought this might happen. And the reason why I thought it might happen is you think about the way that MVP is playing with a bit of a hindrance here.
Yeah.
If he just nails the crap out of this, just hits it hard, executes it, then he's in good shape. He could pull it off as long as he hits everything. In terms of the build, just make sure everything's done well. And this is quite common in Korea, and it's gotten wins in Pro League.
Yeah, it has.
If it can get wins in Pro League, it can get wins here. Because the Pro League players practice against this and still lose versus it.
And
I mean, let's just put it. How often does Todd play against this on ladder? If he does, is it MVP? Is it a top-tier Korean pro gamer? Usually not.
No, there's not as many of those as there is in Korea. And in Korea, there's a whole lot of them, that's for sure.
Todd's going to scout after Gateway. That's good for him.
Yeah.
It's better than not scouting, let's put it that way.
True. Well, Barracks is going to be positioned right at the ramp here as well. MVP is going to fortify himself whilst using this tactic. It's very important. But again, this is going to be seen as soon as he touches the watchtower. So let's see how Todd actually reacts to this.
Yeah, there's a couple of ways. And it's funny to think, for example, I want to bring up parting as the example here. In Pro League, in GSL, Pro League was after. So in GSL, parting saw this, instantly killed it. Instantly. He went up to double gas, he went to Oracle, and used the Mothership Core aggressively to begin with, followed up then by the Oracle, which just completely destroyed the strategy. He then tried again with a different strategy in Pro League and died against it.
Is he going to put a pylon here in the Stargate? I think he actually might.
Yeah, the way that he's looking at with that probe, yeah.
I've seen this before.
So this, he needs to be on 2 gases, though, if he's going to do it, ideally.
All right, so
you can do it off 1 gas for sure, which would trick MVP. But MVP is going to be looking for pylons, of course, first. There's a probe that spotted him. But we do see another SUV from MVP coming over. He's going to bunker the natural. Or, yeah, is he? He can't bunker the main, surely.
Well, there's the bunker.
Yeah, he's going to bunker the natural. If the Zealot chases the SUV in the main, it's going to be even harder for Todd to, Oh, he's trying to bait the Zealot over.
Yeah.
But the Zealot fell for it.
Oh.
The SUV's tickling the probe, and then the Zealot came back. But Todd is going to move down and not see the bunker still.
And noticeably, I'm guessing that this pylon is just going to be used for warpins later on or something, because right now they have probe left.
Yeah, the probe left. Okay, so I guess he's not going to do that. But the bunker completes. This is difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
This is really difficult to deal with for Todd.
This game's just been completely turned on its head because...
Yeah, it's 1 base versus 1 base, and this is not ideal. Todd immediately throws down 2nd and 3rd gateway.
All right.
Notice that, MVP's gone up to double gases here. He will be going up to a factory soon. Could be tank, could be Banshee, could be fast medivacs, could be anything from this point.
This supply depot and the full wall off is so important here for MVP because of the way in which that pylon is positioned. I mean, he doesn't know about it, but he has to anticipate some kind of craziness going on.
2 Marines are going to defend against the Mothership Core. Enough time will be bought, I would imagine, for the other Marines to get out here to defend. Doesn't want to take losses, really. 1 SCV down, 2 SCVs down.
Ooh.
It's not as important to pick off SCVs here as it would be in a regular game because of this gold base, but there's the factory coming in. There's the also robotics facility from ToD. Chronoboost into the Warp Gate research.
4 gates and Robo.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, ToD, show us the way, I guess.
He's going to try and crack this on 1 base. So if he cracks MVP's defense, sure, he's in good spot, but is he really going to do that if MVP's tucked nicely up here?
Yeah. But how do you crack this with 4 gates? I mean,
exactly. And if ToD doesn't crack this, he doesn't break it down somehow, and then say he breaks the bunker, then expands.
Yeah.
Right? This is bad for ToD because, first of all, MVP would hit with his timing before ToD has the right necessary units to stop this. Gateway units alone is not really good. You need Phoenixes or Oracles or Colossus or something of high tech to stop this. So ideally, ToD would be looking to win the game fast rather than later here.
Smash the bunker down initially here for ToD. Brings down the SCV very fast.
Nice target of the Sentry. Shame he couldn't get it.
But also good micro back.
Oh, he's going to get the Zealot.
He
He may get all 3 units here.
Yeah.
Zealot first, then other Zealot.
Good force field.
He gets 2 Zealots. The Marines are always going to die there, but he drags 2 Zealots down with them. Tanks on the way.
Saving the sentries, okay. Robo Bay. Wow. All right, then.
Like, a Colossus is super cool, super important, but the problem is as well, Vikings and SCV pull is good against that if you can get to a decent Viking count. And remember, there's very little to protect the Colossus because they're so expensive on 1 base. ToD is definitely, I feel, freestyling right now.
Yeah, it seems it. I mean, and on the other side here for MVP, this is micro base. This is like a user interface challenge that you set up. Like, fit all of these buildings in this small area and have an entire base because he's doing all right so far.
This drop's going to escape the Observer too.
Oh, that's a bit sad for him,
He does have
actually.
Photon Overcharge, but he will be forced to use the Mothership Core early, which will lower the energy for the follow-up attack, which MVP will eventually go for here.
I love the positioning of the tank as well because it's all too easy to actually like start assaulting from the low ground if you've got... Oh, uh-oh.
Yeah, not spotted yet.
At least he's got his units in position to thwart this.
Yeah, and out. Still doesn't know about the Colossus yet, so Viking production is kind of useful here. But remember, without Thermal Lance, these tanks can fire from, you know, a decent position and actually target down the Colossus too.
Yeah.
Something else to keep in mind. ToD does know about that with the Observer there.
ToD playing safe down to the south, sending a probe down to catch any kind of hidden base that may or may not occur in this game. But for now, still, we're at 9 minutes now, and it's still 1 base versus 1 base.
We'll have a Colossus out, though. Thermal Lance on the way next. Thermal Lance is kind of key. Also, important to note, still MVP without the knowledge of that. But 3 tanks, man.
Oh, look at this, and this Marine spots the actual Zealot harass Warpin. That's really, really keen there by MVP.
Can get the Marines inside and lift the supply depots. He's safe for now.
Yeah, so good.
Does cut off the reinforcements, technically, so that's okay as well. But MVP knows his opponent's on 1 base. He could bunker him in. Here comes the Colossus. MVP sieges up. Doesn't know about the Colossus yet.
But ToD's keeping good eyes on the entire army and its movements, so that's nice for him as well.
Ooh, hidden base by ToD down in the bottom right here.
Wow, and that's actually in a really, really, it's just like, he's never really going to spot that, I don't feel. That's a crazy location.
I think that MVP would look to finish the game before that base could even become relevant in this game.
Oh, he's going to use the Warp Prism to lift in those 3 Zealots.
There's 5 tanks. There's a 5th one about a pop.
It's so much firepower.
It's a lot. There is a Warp Prism that can definitely pick up those Zealots that try to get in and drop them into the gold base there and do damage.
Twilight Council goes down behind all of this. I think this might be a bit ambitious here by ToD.
It might be DTs. Like I told you, he's freestyling a little bit here. Doesn't really know exactly what he's doing, but see if he can come up with the answer here. So
These Zealots
tanks
work.
pushing as well. Yeah, but he's got Marines in there, and he can also pull SCVs just to surround. Oh, nice warping though.
Yep, that's actually quite annoying. That's going to do quite a bit. And the tank's containing, but the problem...
Oh, he's going to lose every single SCV.
Yeah, that's a lot dying off.
He's losing every single SCV.
It's do or die here for MVP.
MVP's going to start to tank push this.
Yeah. And
Viking is there as well.
This reminds me of a 1-1-1, but anyway...
Photon Overcharge active, does not want to lose that Viking. MVP's really been hurting his income. ToD cancelled the Nexus, by the way.
I think that's a wise decision here. He knows
Yeah.
how much damage he did to his opponent's income itself, so
Yeah.
kind of just hold on, just survive, and then maybe later on you can think about this.
Yeah.
But again, the Twilight Council, I don't see the use for it. And maybe if the Nexus were to have finished and this would have been slower, then yes. But right now,
I definitely
not so
think
much.
Dark Shrine is so good here. So good.
If you find the room
Limited
for it.
with SEVs, he's going to use mules. You can get
Zealots walk in.
DTs in.
Oh,
Zealots
lowering-
in as well.
Yeah.
So MVP's really pressed against it now.
It's got to go.
He has to start pushing this. Or what he can do, but the problem is even if
SCVs are
Todd
coming with
sits on
this.
one base, yeah, he kind of has to go.
Yeah, I mean, the army count now, 71 to 55. Only 6 workers left.
Colossus, though.
That's going to do a lot of damage
There's
to these
no
Marines.
Vikings.
They don't have stim. They
There's
don't have
one
stim.
Viking. No stim, no combat shields, weak units.
If he
has to spread out. He's got to wait for this photon overcharge before he does anything.
once a siege tank gets in range of that next, I suppose even that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, he can, well, whatever the case.
As long as he has the money. All right, now he's going to start assaulting this Nexus.
Wow, Todd's going to go, and there's 5 tanks to reinforce this.
Yeah.
Here we go. Where is he? Is he going to go? No, he's not.
Catches a little bit of that. He's got to be...
3 Vikings as well.
The Observer's the hero here. If it sees those siege tanks unsiege for just a second, all the probes come off the line, though. They're not going to be unsieging. Todd is going to go right now to try and shut this
That's
down.
a lot of Marines.
That is a lot, you're right. And they're all spaced out in such a way that they're not taking efficient splash damage from those Colossi. The siege tanks at the
Todd's
back are
done it.
focusing
Todd's
them
done
down.
it. Todd's done it.
The Zealots got on top of the siege tanks at the back as well. It's done. MVP has nothing left. GG. Todd breaks it. What a tense game to finish this series off.
Wow. All right, Todd goes through to the winners match, pushing MVP down to the lower bracket in a TVT versus Euthermal. Yeah, big victory there for Todd. You know, mentally, morally, whatever you want to say, it's a big victory there for him. And he finds himself in a spot that he's never been in before. He's in the winners match, just 1 game away from going through to the round of 16 now. Just has to beat San in a PvP.
Yeah, and that match is going to be coming up next. So after the break, guys, make sure you don't tune out because we're going to have San versus Todd to find out who goes through to the round of 16.